This video is about attendance in online schools. It is based on a study about a self-paced virtual high school. This virtual high school is a private online school with around 2,600 students. It promotes a self-paced curriculum with teacher support via messages and Skype. This means that students access their curriculum and all their assignments online, and they come to their teacher when they need help with their work, or a teacher intervenes when they see that they are struggling. During their study, students are required to attend 20 hours per week. This is with the expectation that they are also spending a significant amount of time off the computer doing schoolwork. The reason for this study is that most students fail to spend the required amount of time logged into the school website. This causes students to fall behind and struggle to finish the course in the expected amount of time, which is 9 months. The research question is, how do biweekly conferences with teachers affect the pace, attendance, and perceptions of geometry students in the Platinum Plus program at a self-paced virtual high school? The Platinum Plus program is a program where students pay monthly and they get enhanced teacher and counselor support. The literature review shows that online schools is beneficial to students because it allows them access to courses that may otherwise not be available to them. This may be because they either can't spend the hours that they normally could doing schoolwork, or they may live far away and not be able to attend regular school. It also shows that online school allows more flexibility to students who cannot work on a specific schedule. This may be because they are in sports or any other reason, it could be medical illnesses, where they can't attend school regular hours. Online school allows them to attend when they need to. It also shows that students who work in online schools must be self-motivated in order to be successful. So not all students are the right fit for online school. The literature review also shows that self-pacing improves student performance. One study showed that it increased students' memory when they were able to allocate the time they need on more difficult material. Another study showed that self-paced made students receive higher grades when they were students with disabilities. Another study showed that truancy in virtual schools must be defined differently than in traditional schools. In traditional schools, attendance is based on seat time and how often students are attending school. In a virtual school, we must do this differently because we don't know how much time students are spending doing schoolwork when they're in their seats, or how often they are actually in their seats. So another factor that's considered is hours logged into the system and also completion. Studies also showed that attendance is one of the major causes for students dropping out of online schools. Students with low attendance tend to fall behind, and this is something that is evident in the study for this presentation as well. One of the best ways to intervene and help students who are struggling with cyber truancy is to have a team of staff to help support them. For this study, the methodology plan included action research with both qualitative and quantitative data. The action research meant that there was interventions made, and then we logged what happened after these interventions were made. For this study, the intervention was bi-weekly phone calls made to the students. Data was collected to understand the impact of these calls. The sample was a purposeful sample, which included the 8 geometry students in the Platinum Plus program. Data collection instruments included a pre-post survey, weekly attendance logs, weekly completion logs, and call logs. The calls were made in the beginnings of weeks 1, 2, 4, and 6. Attendance and completion logs were recorded at the end of every week in the study. Attendance logs were recorded in hours attended per week, while completion logs were recorded with the percentage completed in each course per week. The pre-post survey, weekly completion logs, and weekly attendance log were analyzed using a paired t-test. The survey was comparing the pre-survey to the post-survey results. The completion logs compared weeks where phone calls were made to weeks when no phone calls were made, and the same was done for the attendance logs. The call logs were analyzed based on patterns and compared to data found in attendance logs, completion logs, and surveys. The results showed that the phone calls enhanced students' completion rates on conference weeks. Despite the fact that students seemed to show higher completion on weeks when calls were made, they did not show a very high completion overall. Only one student showed a high completion rate, which was around 22%. Most other students struggled to pass 10% completion rate. During the study, students are expected to complete at least 3% per week. Over a 7-week period, this should have shown at least 21% completion. Only one student seemed to be meeting these expectations, which means that although the biweekly conferences were effective, we need something else to make them more effective. The attendance log showed that there was little to no effect on students' attendance as a result of the conferences. Given that the completion rates were higher, this means that while the conferences do not affect students' study habits, it may have gave some clarity, which caused them to be able to show a higher completion. This also shows that conferences don't seem to affect the students that already have good study habits. They continued to show those same good study habits and attend when they should be. Students with bad study habits continued to have that behavior. The conferences also had little to no effect on students' perceptions of the course. The results of their pre-survey and post-survey seemed to be generally the same. One student did comment that they didn't feel like they got the help they needed at the end of the survey, which was cause for concern. But another student seemed to have a much more positive perception of the school after the survey, building a relationship with not only the teacher who made the biweekly calls, but all of her teachers. Some of the reflections for the study are that attendance requirements may need to be revised in order to make sure students are working at a consistent pace. Currently, the only attendance requirement is 20 hours per week. It may be beneficial to also include completion rates as part of the attendance requirements. Another find is that more interventions need to be made in order to make sure that students are attending regularly and staying on pace. This may include a team of intervention specialists who will make calls to students who are falling behind or not attending the required hours. And they also may need to report truancy. Another find is that contact with students helps to build a virtual community where students feel comfortable with their teachers. This is evident in the one student who was able to build a relationship with all of her teachers after receiving phone calls from one. This was a student that did not feel comfortable with her teachers before this and did express her concern for participating in the study and having to talk to her teacher. Another find is that self-discipline is a major factor for being successful in a self-paced virtual school. This may mean that there may need to be a screening process for students participating in the online school to make sure before they enroll that they're a student that can be successful in this program. Okay, thank you for watching this presentation on attendance in online schools.